This is part 2 of racism. So, as I said in the last video, I'm going to try to keep this one short because, like I said, this thing can go on forever for me. Talking about racism and racist events and stuff like that. So, I'm going to take you back into my life. I have been a victim of racism. God, I need lotion. Sorry. I have been a victim of racism on more times than I can count on both my hands and toes. And I want to reiterate. I probably didn't say that right. Those must be bruises from those nunchucks. Anyway, I want to retouch up on some of my racist events that happened in my life before I continue on with this video. So let's do that. So back when I was in grade school, that's when racism became a part of my life. Before grade school, in our house, we didn't have racist thoughts. We didn't say the word nigger. We probably cuss like sailors in our house. Most of my family is military, so there was a lot of swearing going on. But in school, my first really fracked up racist experience came from black girls. And I guess it's when I discovered that I wasn't just black. So young black girls, I'll tell you guys the story before. So there was a LT and an SW. These young ladies straight told me that I would never be good enough for black girls because I'm mixed. And black girls don't like mixed guys. They just like black guys. And I kept trying to tell them, well, I don't know what mixed mean, but I'm black. It's like, well, you're exceptionally light. Because I was high yellow, not brown. And we don't like you. And we're like the hottest two black girls in this elementary school, which they were. And they did not like me. So that was like one of my very first bad black experiences. And learning as I went through school that it was going to get worse was not a fathom of a thought in baby James's little mind. And I was like, okay, that's just two girls. But it kind of caught on, and other black girls really didn't like me either unless they were mixed or red-boned and high yellow. Okay? So as I got into like the 4th grade, racism started being the norm, and it was generally dished out to me by black people. So then I met this one white girl in the 4th grade. Maybe it was the 3rd grade. I tell you the story so many times I don't remember what grade it was, but I can tell you that the only thing that I regret till this day was punching her in the mouth for calling me a nigger. It was like my very first bad experience from white people. But I knew white people. And the white people that I knew were family. And they never used that word. My older sister, who's my stepsister, she never used the word nigger. Ever. Her mother never used the word nigger. Ever. As they got older, things a little bit changed, but they didn't use it in a racist term, if you would. But this young girl, I don't know how the argument started. Her damn name was Jay. And she looked at me, we were arguing, and all I had was white friends at the time, until that moment. And she goes, James, you're a nigger. Now, I'm predominantly right-handed. But I've been training martial arts for so long, I usually train with my weak hand so that it can even out. Because my right hand will catch up. And before I knew what happened, my left hand had hit this young lady in the mouth. And blood trickled down her mouth. Because I had busted her lip for calling me a nigger. And all my white friends after that were no longer my friends. They didn't get to hear the part about her calling me a nigger. And they never ever really truly forgave me for that shit. The girl and my friend John, I can't remember the girl's name, but they were somewhat dating because, you know, you have girlfriends and boyfriends in elementary school. Even if you're not having sex or know anything about each other's bodies, you have girlfriends and boyfriends. I was never going to get a girlfriend after punching the white girl in the mouth. That was inevitable. And I never did. So, after that shit happened, you know, went to the office. The teachers, the principals, everybody. I had never had a problem in school until that day. And the teacher couldn't get me to talk. And the principal finally made me talk. And he was like, so why did you hit her? We've never had a problem with you. And I said, well, sir, she called me a nigger. She did what? She called me a nigger. I didn't want to hit her, but it was like my left hand had a mind of its own. And that was the truth. You know, my left hand, it just took off. Before I could even stop it, it hit her and drew back. Blood on my knuckles and everything. And so after I washed the blood off my knuckles when I got to the principal's office, it was a long story. My parent and their parents talked, and when they seen my mom, they thought that I was a white kid. And then they found out that I was a mixed kid. And it's like, oh, okay. And then the teacher had words with their parents, or her parents rather than my parents, and said, well, if I'd have been in my son's shoes, I probably would have punched him in the mouth too. I taught my son not to hit girls, but that was like one of the exceptions to the rule because it was a racist attack. When I got into the 5th grade, things changed. I found out that I was more than just black and white. I found out that I was Cherokee Indian. And I wouldn't have found out if it wasn't for a black teacher. This was not exactly what you would consider a racist assault. This was a racist lesson learned. And she said, you know, James, you're going to carve the best canoes because you're part Native American. And I kept telling her I was black. And then I went home and found out, guess what? Smack in the face, you're part Native American. And not just on one side, but on both sides. So now you get a kick in the ass and a smack in the face. So that had explained why my great-grandmother totally looked different from everyone else while she was still alive. God rest your soul, Ada. Anyway, moving on. As I got into middle school, I really didn't have too many problems with white people. I just had problems with black people. Half-breed this, half-breed that. It just kept coming. By the time I got to the 9th grade, everybody knew I was a half-breed, but the half-breed and the short jokes and you're not getting any pussy, those things kept happening. So by the time I got to college, you would think that all that shit was over. Psh, don't make me laugh. You can still get bullied in college even if you're a grown-ass man. So in college, it was still a half-breed, and most of the time, it was from black people. My experience with white kids in college, with the exception of the one kid that went to high school with me who totally ditched me and just refused to talk to me because I was black, and we were good friends in school, and I don't know what the hell happened to her when she got to UVA. It was like, this is for you, James. She saved me from a racist teacher in high school. She saved me from Miss L, who was a librarian who thought that I couldn't read because I was black. And she pretty much hinted at it. And I pretty much told her, I said, well, you think because I'm black, I'm stupid and I can't read? And I said, look, if the number's not there, because the Dewey Decimal System has decimals. And what is decimals, people? Numbers. That's right, decimals are numbers. So if it says you're looking for number 0106, but you see 0105 and 0107, you would think that I would be smart enough to see that 0106 would be between 0105 and 0107. Well, they did not have 0106 because, as I told the young lady, someone had checked it out. I got on the computer, put in the numbers, it said it was checked out. And then the teacher got on there and swears to heaven and hell that it was checked in, so she marched my little ass back over there and looked at it, and guess what? It was not there. As I told her, I said, Miss L, the damn computer said that it was checked out. I tried to explain to this young lady that it's checked out, which means some other student had it, and at the CHS library, if you had 2 of the same books, that was a blessing, and we didn't have that at CHS. So it was like, well, I can help her with microfiche, because I know how to do that. So she can still probably get the article on microfiche, and then she can get it printed out or whatever. And she went in a tiffy, and then Miss L went in a tiffy, and both of them were white. So I was like, all right, fuck it. But that time, the girl who I was speaking of, who gave me these when she got to the university college, and her name starts with an E. So she, and no, it's not Emily. It's a 3-letter word that starts with an E, just in case you're watching. I haven't forgotten that shit. Now, my feelings are still hurt from that to this day. So Miss E decides to come over there and save me. And she saved me. She went over there and she told Miss L, look, I was with him the whole time. I helped him tell the girl the damn thing. I mean, she really went to bat for me. And that's why when she didn't acknowledge me or walked away when I was talking to her in high school, in college, when I seen her again after like 3 years of high school, it got past us and I got this job working in the university. And she totally was a university student, and she laughed at me and threw her nose up to me and just refused to speak to me. I yelled at her, I screamed at her, I talked to her like like a polite person, but I was trying to get her name or yell at her and all that, and I kept talking to her, and she just kept ignoring me, and then I got pissed off. I said, "You're not the same girl who saved me in the library." And she just looked at me and kept walking. So yeah, it's funny how some of your friends become prejudiced when they get out of high school. And she became prejudiced. I forgive her, but I'm still hurt about the shit. Because how can you save me and then totally give me the finger? Then I had other college problems, when I was going to the current college that I'm going to, PVCC, and other people were going to university. University kids got better grips on our jobs. As I was still working at university, they got better. They worked less and got paid more, and I worked more and got paid less. It was kind of one of those things. And I had an incident on my job with a Mr. T. He was a white man who had read an article about a woman who was also white who had adopted 32 Asian children. Now, you might not find this offensive, but I found this very offensive, and it almost cost me my job. But I'm going to say it anyway. Because he said, "Hey, this lady just adopted 32 Asian children, James. She should adopt you, too." And I'm in my 20s, and I'm thinking to myself, I should choke the fuck out this dude. But I liked Mr. T, which made it even more difficult to have him say some racist shit come at me like that. So I looked at Mr. T and I said, if I didn't like you, I would cuss you out in Chinese. Because at the time, I had learned how to cuss in Chinese. Don't ask, long story. Thank you, Brandon Lee. Anyway, so I did not cuss him out in Chinese, but he sure as hell ran up to the top of the steps and told my boss that I cussed him out in Chinese. And she threatened to fire me right thereafter, and she's black too. So that kind of did me in there. But I kept my job. She got a different job and left me with a new boss. And I ran the two immediate supervisors off, and that left us with the beautiful Libby, who was the second best boss I had. So after that, I didn't think I would have any more problems. And then as I got older, I had my two incidences with Native Americans, because you're not pure blood and other things, and very few incidences with white people. But now that the coronavirus has dropped, everyone and their mama is using this as an excuse to go Chainsaw Charlie on Asians. And this has made me think. I was like, okay, hold on. They're like really digging into Asians. And then you read these things like on Top Buzz and how Asians are getting exceptionally mad because they're getting attacked, and Asian celebrities are coming out and they're saying all this stuff, and it's true. They're all getting mad and they're all saying this stuff. And then when this was happening to black people, everything was peachy keen until 9/11, and then it started happening to the Indians with the dots, and then the DC sniper put the radar back on black people. So, because it's just racism in general. And the thing about racism is, most people will not admit that they are racist. Alright? If you know me and you've been watching my channel long enough, I will tell you from the jump, I am part Cherokee Indian, I am black, and I am white. I am three of the basic melting pot sources in this country. I don't have the right to be a racist because I'm all three of you. I will never personally be white in the eyes of white people, but I do have white blood. Yay. I have Cherokee blood. As I've learned, I will never be pure blood in the Cherokee people. I will never be pure blood to black people. And I have gotten racial attacked by all of them. Now, I will say this. For East Asians, I commend you. I have never had a problem with the Korean. I've never had a problem with the Filipino. I've never had a problem with the Chinese or Vietnamese or Laos or Hawaiian or Samoan. And for any of you say that's because you like them, I've also never had any problems with Mexicans, which I have been mistaken for a Mexican while I was in school. And the teacher literally looked at me and said, "James, you should be able to speak Spanish because you're Mexican." And I looked at her and literally told her, I said, "Ma'am, that was about the racist thing that's ever come out of your mouth. I don't know how you have a job as a teacher if you're going to be racist, but you need some American culture. I'm actually part Cherokee Indian and black and white. And because you're not from America and you don't know American history, maybe you ought to Google that shit before you call someone out of their race. I'm going to close up, but in the next video, I'm going to go into racism. So part 3 and 4 and 5 will definitely be about racism in the world today. They probably will be short videos, or I'll make them all one long third video. It just depends on how I feel. I'm not winded, but it's after midnight, and I'm going to bed. This is Kung Fu Havoc number 2. Be seeing